So I made a video previously for my other YouTube channel talking about economics and just talking about where I would move to if I was to move outside the US. And so I'm going to share that with you today. And so basically most of this video will be the part of the video that I put on my other channel, but I want to give an intro for Christian for Real because I want to add some context to this. I chose, if I do end up moving, which I'm going to talk to, you're going to see my thought process is something I'm kind of like daydreaming about. If, it's got me thinking about what's going on in the US right now. It's crazy. What's going on in the world is crazy. What if World War III happens? I'm just thinking like all these different things. What if it continually gets worse in the US for US citizens? What if we continually have less freedoms? What if just chaos just gets way more chaotic here? Where should I move to have the most peace, have the most or more freedoms at least? And I just started thinking about this probably within the last 6 months or so. But I chose Greece, y'all. I chose Greece after much research. Greece. For many reasons, which you're going to see very shortly here. But one thing I want to add for this specific channel, because it is Christian based, is if I do move to Greece, that's amazing because I thought about this. I've been to Thailand before. It's very cheap. Southeast Asia is very cheap. But if you learn that language, if you plan on living there long term, you should learn the language. And if you do, if I learn Thai, for example, what can I use that for? Not very much because it just exists in Thailand. If I learn Greek, y'all, that is a very cool language to me. And if I learn Greek, that will make me, I could use that for something. The New Testament was written in Greek, albeit the more ancient Greek, I believe it's pronounced Koine Greek. Koine, I don't even know how you pronounce it. But it's a little bit of a different version of Greek than the modern Greek. But if you learn modern Greek, you are one step ahead of learning the original Greek that the Bible, the New Testament, was written in. And if I learn that, because the modern Greek came from the same Greek that the New Testament was written in. So it's actually very similar. And if you learn modern Greek, well, it's a lot easier to learn the Koine Greek of the Bible. And if I learned that, it would just make me that much more knowledgeable about the Bible and just explaining things if I can learn the original language that it was written in. And so what's really cool if I do move to Greece is I get to learn the language, because you should if you actually move to another country. And I mean, look, Paul and the apostles literally walked that country and preached in that country and shared the gospel in that country. Imagine how amazing that is to be in the same area that the apostles walked and preached, and there's actually biblical sites in that country where they preach the gospel. Mars Hill is one, and it's just, I would be living in the country that has ties to the Bible, and that's just so amazing to me. So anyways, now I'm going to cut in that part of the video. That's going to be the rest of this video. The U.S. economy and just America, like the whole system doesn't serve us anymore. It's like a scam, and it's just not serving us. It's like we're being overworked, underpaid. We can't afford the American dream anymore. It's dead. And so I was literally thinking about, where would I move to? If I were to move from the U.S., what country would I move to? I got to go to a country that I like the scenery, I like the food, or I don't have to love the food, but it has to be able to fit in my diet because I'm somebody who doesn't like too much dairy, and I don't eat pork. So I don't eat pork and I don't eat too much dairy. I love just, protein and meats and stuff like that. Cool. But too much dairy is like all this cheese and stuff like Italy has. And anyways, I'm rambling. But also the healthcare has to be good. I also will need to enjoy the language. Like it has to be a language. If it's a foreign language, it has to be a language that I would like to enjoy learning. Because if I don't like to enjoy learning it, I probably won't stay there long term. Has to be somewhere with good healthcare, that actually the people who are running the healthcare, the doctors and the nurses and everybody at the hospital can speak English if necessary. Because I've been to a place where that wasn't the thing. In Thailand, they didn't speak English at a specific hospital I went to. And that was scary. So I don't recommend that because I could have died. They could have gave me the wrong medication. And somebody, luckily, or thank God somebody was there who spoke Thai, who I knew who could translate it. Because they were about to give me the wrong medication in the IV that could literally kill me. Yeah. And so if you're going to a foreign country with a different language, in the beginning, before you learn the language, you need to make sure that the healthcare is good and that they can speak English and all that. So it's like all these different factors, you know, is it going to be more expensive than the US or less expensive? And I found a place that I think would suit me and would suit a lot of people. And I'm going to show you really quick because I think it's the underdog. It's a place that a lot of people don't think about because it's not in its heyday anymore. It's not in the heyday anymore. It was thousands of years ago. The superpower of the world. So the place is Athens, Greece, and I compared it to the most cost-effective, efficient city in the US if you don't want to move abroad. And I don't even know if I want to. I was just thinking about, daydreaming. If I did move abroad, where would I go to? But if I did not move abroad and I just stayed in the US, I would choose Indianapolis, Indiana. It's literally the most cost-effective, most efficient, just the most high IQ move you can make. It's not the most entertaining city, but it has everything that you need, all the amenities. It has a bike path that goes through the city if you don't want to drive everywhere. It doesn't have public transport. That's a downside, but it does have a bike path that you can use so you don't have to drive a car if you don't want to. It has pretty good healthcare, low taxes, and pretty good cost of housing compared to other places, other big cities. But even the most cost-effective big city, I want to live in a big city, the most cost-effective, efficient big city in the US, Athens, Greece, beats that in almost every metric. Taxes, and then you get into their healthcare system, which arguably might be better than the US. There's a universal healthcare, but you can do private, and they said the private's better. You can access more hospitals that they speak English with the private healthcare, the top tier hospitals in Greece. The food's cheaper. The transport is cheaper if you don't own a car. The tax, they have a totalization agreement, so you're not double taxed. Basically, if you're self-employed, you're not double taxed. With the US, they have that agreement. If they didn't have that agreement, you have to pay self-employment tax, which is a lot to the US. Out of like 50K, I'm going based on a 50K income. And then you still have to pay taxes to the government, but it looks to be a good bit less. And you're paying taxes, in my opinion, to a government that is less corrupt. Maybe I don't know too much about Greece, but I know about the US. And the US have a lot of issues with the government right now. And then housing, it's going by Athens, Greece. I'm not sure if these are neighborhoods, but maybe let's just say 1K. Let's just say 1K. It's still cheaper than the most efficient city in the US. And this is good for a big city in the US. Indianapolis. If you go to like this size city in a more expensive area, it's like Florida, for example. This changed that to 2K. One bedroom, like a pretty good one, 1,800, 2K, even more. It depends on where you go. In Florida, these luxury apartments, But Indianapolis is about a good $500 less than most big cities in the US. And even more if you consider New York and LA, those are like 3K minimum. 3K minimum for a one bedroom. But that's why I'm saying Indianapolis is the most cost-effective city, big city you can live in with like a metro population of about, I think, 2 million. You can't beat it. And the airport's great. I've researched this stuff a lot because I eventually want to move from where I'm at in middle Georgia. Like the middle of nowhere. You don't even know the city I'm in because it's so small. I don't stay in Atlanta. I'm like, where would I move to? I want to move eventually. I don't want to move to Atlanta. Well, I want to move to a different state if I stay in the US. So I looked up the most cost-effective big cities because I want to move to a big city with more amenities, a good airport, good bicycling, good cycling so I can get around and exercise and not have to use my car for everything. And Indianapolis fits the bill. But if you want to move abroad and check out another country, Greece, it's so beautiful over there. It just looks great. It looks amazing. The water. Just type in Greek ocean. Actually, matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. Look at these oceans in Greece. It's like this perfect blue, deep blue water. Then, if you go to shallower water, it can get look like that. You know, of course, not all the island is going to look like this, but the fact is you're moving to a country where you can see this type of scenery. Imagine cycling Greece or just walking, whatever you want to do. And they have all these different islands. Let me see if I can change this screen resolution right here. So this is the Aegean Sea, all these different islands in Greece. And you can explore this whole country and the islands if you get permanent residency and then eventually citizenship if you want that. I mean, it's so much exploration in this country of beautiful scenery. And they have good food, healthy food. The Mediterranean diet is known as one of the most healthy diets. They live to a pretty good old ripe age. I mean, I think that's Santorini, Greece, on an island. So not mainland, I don't think. But it's just a beautiful country. I mean, imagine calling this your home. You know, that's amazing. Again, the whole island does not look like this, you know. We can go to Athens. Athens doesn't look as good, but that's the major city there. Or the biggest city there. So there goes the ancient structure. I forget what it's called. The Parthenon, maybe? I don't remember what it's called, y'all. The housing in Athens, I don't think looks that good. So I would have to look around to see, you know, what kind of house I'd want to live in or apartment, because most of their houses look kind of weird. But the fact is, you get to live in this country and you eventually make enough money, you can just live wherever you want and pay cheaper and get more for your money. That's the point. You get more for your money than the US. I mean, I think and the weather's great. It's like California weather. Basically, the weather is amazing. Yeah, so I typed in Athens housing and see, I don't think this housing looks too good, honestly. But I'm sure this is just in the main city. There's got to be housing that looks better somewhere else, maybe on the outskirts of the city, you know. But I think they're just old buildings. It's an old city, y'all. So I'm sure you can get better housing somewhere else if you really want that. I think Athens, Georgia came up. Is this Athens, Georgia? Look, that even looks worse. Athens, Georgia in the U.S. That looks so depressing. So this is Georgia, I think, where I'm at. Athens, Georgia, and then Athens, Greece. So, you know, pick what you want. But I think Greece is a beautiful country. And you get more for what you pay. And your taxes are not going to the U.S. government, which I don't want my taxes to go there anymore, honestly. Knowing what's happened in the files that I don't want to go into in this video, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know. I just don't want to support that with my tax dollars. And I think if you have dual citizenship, you still have to pay some taxes to the U.S. government, but it's a lot less. I'm not a tax professional. I may be missing something. I think the totalization agreement that we went over earlier makes it a lot less, if not zero, but you'll have to double check me on that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you learned something today. Take care and God bless.